Hello everyone, my name is Matt Scorpion, and I'm on my hunter for once. Things must be getting weird. But aside from that, I wanted to talk about a specific perk that actually came out this season that I've seen actually not a lot of specific talk about. And that one is High Ground. Now, if you don't know what High Ground is, basically on its definition, if you are above a target, you will gain bonus damage. Now, the details of this is a bit weird. According to light.gg, you have to be at least 1 meter above, and you get a 20% damage buff in PvE, and a 10% damage buff in PvP, which is pretty much like Radiant. But from that standpoint as well, there's one more caveat that it also mentions. First of all, being that you can't be airborne. So, I know a lot of people, when they heard about that, they probably just thought, high ground, just be above something, and just go ahead and jump on top of something. But then at the same time, you can't be airborne, which means you need to have feet planted. It needs to be something that's high above the boss. And this becomes a kind of issue, because when it comes to things like, well, the War Priest, Oryx, Taniks, one exception possibly being Nezarec, because usually damage takes place on a platform above him. But from the vast majority of things, in endgame scenarios, the boss that you are shooting at, that high ground would be nice for, is either on a higher platform or just genuinely a bigger target than your Guardian. So, yeah, is it even worth it? Really, is it actually even worth it? Like, I get there is a lot of scenarios across Destiny where there is platforms above. Like, I can think Irute would be a good one. If you did the damage phase from the balcony on Crota, that would be a good one. Possibly Golgoroth for the Gaze Takers, not during damage, just because of everything in between. Maybe the Harpy, just because you stand on a kind of elevated, or a little bit of a higher platform before it runs away, but that thing sits up walls, so it's kind of hard to get through. Maybe Crucible, because I know that is probably the main thing where it's going to shine, because I'm actually going to show you here, against some of the Vex in here, how iffy it kind of is. So back here, about equal height shooting, no high ground. But then I am up here, shooting over there. High ground is sort of active. It pops up every now and again. So you don't really have to be that high, but you have to be on a static platform, which is kind of weird. And like I said, no airborne. You can't be airborne shooting or freaking flying, which in terms of a Heat Rises Warlock would probably be the easy mode to getting this to proc, but at the same time, most everything else is not going to have an easy time. Now, I know there's like a lot of spots in Vault of Glass where you can stand on something that's higher, so that's probably something that comes to mind, everything else. But in the average day-to-day of Destiny, the amount of times that you are physically above your opponent are physically none. And you can see right here, it is a little bit temperamental, like right here, above target, that doesn't work. But then I go over here, I'm on this rock over here, and high ground is working. So there is some semantics. It actually has, even though it says just a single meter, there is a bit of distance you actually have to surpass to actually get it to proc. Now, a lot of people aimed at, I think, Luna Regolith, which was the sniper from the Vanguard playlist, which is aggressive frame and everything like that, as a good option for high ground. But really, looking at it, how many times has somebody gotten not only a high ground sniper, but actually, or high ground anything, let me specify, and actually got to make it work in a way that was cohesive and doable? Like, I imagine if you had a dedicated team of people putting on 6 high ground, well, just for the example, just to keep going with it, if you put on 6 Song of Utes Adept or Regular that had high ground on them, do you think that would actually be good damage in a phase? Because I know you can obviously put Reconstruction in the left side, something like, I forget if 4 times the charm is an option, but Reconstruction, of maybe Rewind rounds, something. If there's something to give you more ammo and you actually coordinated a team, would 5 machine guns with high ground and a Divinity actually be the play? And I really don't think it is, because unless you it's kind of like Rat King. Unless you spec into it, it only takes one person is not going to be enough. You're going to need, like, literally the whole team. And same thing, if you have somebody with high ground that's the well lock, and they try to go up into a high spot, it really is going to cause more problems, because then more people are going to have to go into a high spot instead of just doing damage for where damage regularly is. So, full opinion, as much as high ground sounds nice, it really does not seem like a good option for the average player otherwise. Just because if it's one of those perks, it's kind of like In comparison to things like bait and switch, it doesn't exactly have as good as the thing, because bait and switch is pretty simply enough. You can just swap one gun, swap to another gun, and then go to the back one, and you have a 10-second damage buff that lasts pretty long and is pretty easy to reapply. You have to think about it a little bit, but it is pretty easy to reapply in the grand scheme of everything. Meanwhile, high ground, you have to take a second out of your damage phase or setting up and be like, okay, where's something I can stand on that actually has some height? And like I said, in case of a lot of raid bosses, they're already bigger than you. So if the game's code takes into account something about that, it's not going to work out so well. With that, my name is Matt Scorpion. I will see you in the next video.